Well, last slot of the day. How did I end up with that one? So this is going to be a kind of closed-loop presentation. So if you look enthusiastic, I'll speed up, and you can get to the cocktails much faster. But if you start yawning or doing too much email, I promise I'll slow down so that you get the information content. Yes, thanks for the introduction. So I've got a British accent. I won't do that again. I've got a British accent. You heard from Simon earlier on CJA, and I'm going to just try and balance that out with some of the other management and analytics that is now part of eGain from Exney. Simple agenda. I wanted to talk about who it was we were addressing, why, what, where, when, the questions around Vim. Have I actually pressed the forward button? I think there was a title. Yes, so about the title, measuring and managing contact centers. It's optimizing omnichannel through Vim. You heard about customer journey analytics. We have an acronym for that. It's called CJA. If you can work out what the Vim is in the acronym Vim for the product I'm talking about, there'll be a prize for that one. So what, why, when, how. I'm going to give you a case study, and I'm going to give you a very quick, it says Vim in depth, it's going to be very fast, quick kind of walk through the type of capabilities that we have in Vim. And there's a demo booth near the CJA one out there. So who has it? Well, actually, there's a statistic missing off here, and it came up, and Noel mentioned it earlier. Operational expense often comes into the equation on any of these topics. The Vim product that we have, this is confusing me. The Vim product that we have sits over contact centers that spend about $10 billion per annum in their operational expense. So that's a significant amount of money. So the whole role of what we do is about making sure that people are getting the best they can out of that expense line. There's about 150,000 agents managed by Vim, 500 million transactions on IVRs. There's been about 1 million shipments of a lesser product through OEM with Cisco. And it is deployed across the world, and also there's deployments within hosted environments. I put a few logos there, but there's many more logos. So why is Vim interesting now? Well, there's 4 trends, and Ashu mentioned this earlier this morning. There's a trend towards really omni-channels being less silo-like, effortless engagement in a blended environment. We address that. There are people that are really beginning to realize that they have to innovate with analytics to actually change the way they operate and actually win in industry. And there's a trend, a big trend, and there has been a trend for about 5 or 6 years, and Gartner predicts going on for the next 5 or 6 years on the consolidation of contact centers, both in terms of geographic consolidation and also the channels themselves. So what is it? It is a portal that makes the delivery of omnichannel easier, much easier to do. It's based on a mixture of measurement, monitoring, and management so that we can empower everybody at the front line to maximize what they get out of the contact center. And you'll see when I show you a few of the screenshots, it's really oriented around applications that are specific to tasks that people have to do every day. And there is a flavor of this, and Simon this morning mentioned around the CJA, where they demonstrated how customer journey analytics could intervene with offers. There is an intervention engine within the Vim platform for intervening in what's happening in voice calls at the moment. So what's its impact? So starting at the bottom, one of the key things that we're really focused on is making the advisors more performant, up their skill levels. And that really comes down to allowing supervisors to actually intervene here and now with real-time information when people need to be mentored. And I think I heard earlier this morning, the word of training is kind of vanishing, and it's more about real-time mentoring and understanding what's going on. And that's very important to us. And then as we go up, the impact escalates when we look at the cost of service metrics, advocacy, and when you get right to the top and you actually look at the customer lifetime value, then that will swamp the $10 billion that people are spending on the operational expense. Where does it fit? You saw this slide first thing this morning. Ashu showed it. It really is, actually it's not highlighted here, but it's in the center here and also to the right-hand side, it complements the original product set of customer-facing applications that came from eGain with the management applications that allow everything to actually run smoothly and also to deliver the analytics that can drive the applications. It's all about enterprise-wide engagement. It's easy, safe to deploy, and you'll see more as I go through the slide set. I have to say, you're looking pretty engaged, actually, so I might speed up. I put this slide in because I thought it was interesting. So it's a quote from Gartner, and there's a couple of things that are interesting to me here. Bringing these products into the eGain suite. It's in the second line, which is customers across all interaction channels, and that is a mission that we're working on very aggressively within Exney to make sure that we not only build on the voice and the integrations with workforce management and other tools, we're really getting into the in-depth digital channels that we have access to now. We're part of eGain. And the bottom line is really key. This is a platform that enables enterprises to participate in making customer service work across all departments of the enterprise, at all levels. It's about engaging the enterprise in the conversation. So I think you'll see there's a story as to how these systems get deployed, but the really interesting thing is that once this platform is deployed, there is immediate benefits from day one. The first obvious benefit is because we are consolidating across the enterprise, the various channels and the various sites, all of a sudden we get a single view of the truth. Excel spreadsheets are not being used to consolidate information up. I mean, we all know when Excel spreadsheets start getting used, it allows people to take out various bits of information that they think may be inappropriate for the way that they're rewarded or remunerated, or there's various exceptions why some of these things get hidden. Now, when this is deployed, it allows everybody to have consistent information, to actually share information on a level playing field, and for people to actually operate the contact center knowing that they have true information. Another part of the platform, I mentioned site consolidation. With that, quite often in the deployments of the VIM, we go cross-language, cross-country. The consistency of the numbers, the consistency of the platform is absolutely solid across all of these languages. And in fact, you can swap languages and get exactly the same information, report, and tools. Everyone's using the same tool, it just comes across in different languages. The second key benefit is the business is enabled to actually think on their feet and to actually, in an agile manner, take control of their management information needs and their management needs. And you'll see that on the next few slides. After it's been deployed and people are beginning to experience the platform, there's a whole number of different extended benefits, and I just picked a few here, and I think we've heard some of these mentioned earlier. So on the right-hand side, taking control of first call resolution, understanding where knowledge is being used, self-serve. I think self-serve on the poll was very important. So how effective is self-service in delivering what the customer wants? And on the left-hand side, there's some perhaps a little bit more clunky stuff that you won't be familiar with, but typically we find as we consolidate across enterprises, there's quite an activity around focusing on how that benefits both the enterprise and the customers. So customers get the benefit of a larger resource to actually service their needs, so you can reduce the effort and efficiencies go up. And we've got some tools that enable people to actually impact the customer service. I think these slides are available, so I'm not going to go through these because you are looking so attentive. I'm going to speed up. Case study. So, large North American bank, in the top 5 North America, one of the largest branch networks. The bank was growing through acquisition of a number of brands, wanted to maintain some of these brands, and they really want to focus on customer experience. They developed a strategy around a multi-tenanted contact center using the VIM platform as a management layer that allowed them to actually sit over the various brands and the various needs that they had. They had a choice around doing it themselves or using outsourcers. And they had also within this environment, there are actually outsourced contact centers. This platform allows you to sit over that as a private cloud and allow everybody to actually be in control of their estate. Deployed in 2011, and in 2012, they were demonstrating significant impact on customer experience. 5 lines of business, you can read this. A number of agents, a large number of agents, efficiencies across the board. Okay, so this is really about taking out the effort. It's a phrase that you've heard, making things easy, taking out the effort, but I think this slide really is, there's 2 ways of looking at this. One is, how do we take out the effort for the customer? And that's been a lot of the theme of this morning. But this platform is also about taking out the effort for the enterprise to actually deliver what it wants to deliver to its end customer. So it's about measurement and customer effort, internal efficiencies, and active management, allowing people to actually participate in that, based on the platform when much of this stuff comes out of the box. A number of other case studies that we could go into detail if you want to speak to us out there by the booths. Vim in depth. I'm looking at the timer here. I am going to finish very early, so I hope the cocktails are available. So these, yeah, you won't be able to read these from the back. I didn't intend you to be able to read these from the back. As I say, the slides are available. But you can see a number of images there. Some of them you can recognize as pie charts. Some areas that you actually want to run from pictures. They're very quick at conveying information. Sometimes you need detailed information in tables and things. So as you can imagine, in this platform, you've got a mixture of the two. And you can actually combine these together to make applications in the way that you want. So you've got this in-the-moment information that you can actually make changes on. And in this particular application in front of us, it's about making sure that your resources are utilized effectively. But together with that, integrated with that, we actually put in part of the application the ability to actually move resources around or to steer your customer services resources, steer your customer service, whether it's in the routing or whether it's in IVR. Consolidated channels. More and more important story. Maybe the blended agent hasn't been as popular as people believe, but there are areas of blended agent. But what we do want to offer is consistency across the channels, irrespective of whether they're used by the same advisors or not. So we provide that consistency across the channels, so people can really understand the workload and the way it's distributed, and they're able to actually make balanced decisions. And we heard from the panel, there are a lot of balancing acts to actually do in decision making. And that enables them in real time to actually juggle the various channel service levels so that they can actually maximize the benefit for the customer and for the enterprise. Okay, imagine that had a build in it. This is another example of taking the analytics, and this is the intervention engine that Simon was referring to earlier this morning. Unfortunately, the text has hidden some of the stuff here, but this is taking first call resolution into real time. So, on the left-hand side here, we're seeing the management part of this application that allows people to actually configure how to prioritize repeat callers or repeat contacts if they see them coming into the contact center. So within Vim, there's an algorithm that determines whether we believe people are coming back in a repeat contact. It's a combination of how frequency between the contact events, call drivers, and removing blacklists. So there's a whole number of things that gives this an out-of-the-box, pretty accurate description of first contact resolution or repeat calls. What is hidden by there is we actually see and experience there's some interesting bands that people want to change how they behave for particular repeat contacts. So if people come back within the hour, they may want to give them higher priority because there's some urgency. They may actually want to give them higher priority treatment. And the interesting band that you can't see there, which is between 23 hours and 25 hours. So maybe they have a particular point of their day, first thing in the morning or in the middle of the day. They try to get through to an organization. They give up, and they can only come back at the same time of the day. Again, it's another area where people may want to accelerate them through the queues. It's about measurement and management. I've talked about the management first there. The measurement on the right-hand side actually shows you how that's actually happening, the consequence of how we're actually intervening and elevating those calls. So it's very, very exciting when we actually get into the interventions in real time. Easy actionable analytics. In fact, this is first call resolution again. What's quite straightforward around this is when you put this in front of supervisors, they can see what's going on in real time. They can actually focus on agents that may be having a bad day or historically over the last month have actually been causing more repeat calls, and they can actually intervene in mentoring them and coaching them at the moment instead of waiting for analysis months later. They can focus on outliers. There's some very simple analytics that allow people to really get at the problem. We don't want to focus on the average, we want to focus on the outliers. With the trend lines, they can prioritize on trends, even if they're at the top, but the trend's going down. You may not want to waste any time on them. And as I mentioned, this platform is available to supervisors and managers at all levels. So it really is about engaging the whole of the enterprise in this conversation. You certainly won't be able to read this at the back, but I just wanted to give an illustration of the way that we model companies and the enterprises. On the left-hand side of that slide, there's a tree that allows you to actually map out who's allowed to see and who's allowed to control the various aspects of this capability. The platform's very powerful. We can switch off contact centers if you've got the privileges to switch off contact centers. Clearly, we don't want everyone to have rights to this. So this feature within the Vim platform is the key component that allows us to shift the need to engage IT to make some pretty trivial but very important shifts, and to actually give that to business users that know that they can do it in a very safe manner. It's all audited as well, so if anybody does do anything, any management interventions, it's audited. And that's very useful, because not only does it give us the ability to actually understand what's effective in terms of the management, to actually analysing that, but it also means that you can actually provide this tool and act within the governance that you want to. Wow, we are going to get those cocktails early. So the bottom line, it really is, the customers make their in the moment, at the moment, and that requires informed management in the moment, and that's whatever channel that moment is in, and that's what Vim gives you. And that is it. You really can get to the cocktails early.